penalty, then 25% plus another additional 25%. And now secondary sanctions have also been announced, which will be made official very, very soon. And amidst all of this, Israel has expressed solidarity with India. Israel stands with India amid tariff war. We have our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor joining us live from Israel. Abhishek, this is a huge development. Israel is backing India, standing with India during these times of need. Help us understand this big decision and the big statement coming in from Israel.
Well, this is now can be attributed to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We have just come out of a meeting with him at the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem, and that's a very big takeaway, Deepak. My personal takeaways, first one was, he said that India-Israel relationship is going up, up, up. Now, this is significant because of the kind of strong relationship that exists between Israel and United States and Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump. For Prime Minister Netanyahu to say that irrespective of what turbulence is there between India and the United States, our relationship is solid. And for the first time, and I was really bit surprised, rather pleasantly, that he was open to taking the question on India-Israel defense partnership, defense relationship, and he mentioned how the relationship, that aspect of the relationship is strong. He admitted to Israel's role in, the role of Israeli defense platforms in the Operation Sindoor. In fact, he said that the cooperation and the platforms, Israeli platforms with India predates the Operation Sindoor, but they were very effective. They are battle-tested, battle-hardened platforms, and they proved their mettle and they proved their worth in the Operation Sindoor that India had to launch in response to Pakistan's attack in Pahalgam, terror attack in Pahalgam. So I think that was the second key takeaway from the conversation that we had for about 45 minutes with him as part of a delegation here. We asked some sharp questions on Gaza. I personally asked him about what he means when he says that he's going to intensify the Gaza war, given the kind of isolation Israel is facing, the kind of pressure Israel is facing from the West, given the humanitarian crisis in Gaza Strip. And he said that, okay, fine, much of the humanitarian crisis that you are seeing is because of Hamas, and it's they're cooking up that has led to this situation. He said that, yes, we would face some headwinds, but then we are going to intensify our military operations further after having completely decimated, according to him, the nuclear threat from Iran. Now they are completely focused on finishing off Hamas, whatever time it takes. He in fact said that this thing can end tomorrow if Hamas completely demilitarizes itself and hands over the administration of Gaza Strip to somebody which is non-Hamas, non-Palestine authority, which if they don't do it, Israel would do it after completely finishing off Hamas. So the intensification of the Gaza operations, for which, in fact, he has called a cabinet meeting later in the day to thrash out details of how it's going to go in. He said that this is going to be a short, quick operation, and we are going to, and that he, according to him, we are going to make sure that Hamas is completely finished inside.
Absolutely. Israel has stood with India. And another statement, in fact, important point to mention here is that there's a basic understanding in Washington, D.C. that India is a solid partner. And this is also important if you look at the statement that India remains a solid partner as far as India and U.S. are concerned. So do you think there could be some sort of a resolution going forward with the intervention of other countries as well? All right, we'll try and reconnect that line with my colleague there. But now Israel has weighed in amid the India-US tariff war. In fact, there's a statement that has been issued and it, in fact, goes on to say there's a basic understanding in Washington, D.C. that India is a solid partner. India stands out. India and US are two terrific friends with so much common ground. They should be able to find a solution. And this is, in fact, what Israel has stated. Netanyahu has has weighed in amid the India-US tariff war that has been going on. For context, US has imposed 50% tariff on India, 25% for, in fact, purchasing oil from Russia is what we know. But now a statement that has come in from Israel, they have stated that India and US should be able to find a solution, and also going on to say that there's a basic understanding as far as India and US is concerned that India is a solid partner. So it remains to be seen whether with the intervention of the common friends of United States and India, that is Israel, there could be some sort of resolution and some sort of solution as far as the tariff war is concerned. All right, this is in fact the statement that has come in from Israel at a time when the tariff war is going on. United States has imposed the tariff, 50% tariff on India, and this tariff war between the two countries has escalated. And India has also given point-by-point reply to US President Donald Trump as far as the tariff war is concerned. India has maintained a very calm tone and tenor on this entire issue. Let me go across to my colleague, Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor, who's reporting live from there. A statement that has come in from Israel, it goes on to mention that there's a basic understanding in United States that India is a solid partner, in fact saying that both the countries should be able to find a solution. So going forward, as I was asking you, with the intervention of a common friend, could there be any sort of resolution between the two countries going forward?
Well, I can tell you, he did hint that maybe he can have a private conversation both with Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, but he said that he would rather keep it off the conversation. But he did mention that with the kind of common ground that exists between India and the United States and the terrific partnership, he used the word terrific partnership that exists between the two, and the kind of role India plays in Asia, the kind of bonhomie that exists between the two sides, I think the two sides should be able to sort it out. So, without ruling out the possibility of his role in getting the two sides quietly together, he mentioned that otherwise also so much exists between India and the United States, which should make them come together on the table and solve the issue. Yes, so I think the world is taking note of this situation that we are seeing, and the fact that everyone is concerned. And when he said that maybe I can help, but not I can help, but he said that if there is a role, we would rather keep it private. The world sees that the developments on the India-United States front with some concern. And whosoever can help would help. It's not that he has been asked to mediate from both the sides, but then as a well-wisher and a friend of both India and the United States, Prime Minister Netanyahu told us that he's going to be hoping that both sides are able to sort it out among themselves.
Absolutely. In fact, this is a statement coming in from Israel. They're weighed in on the US-India tariff war that is going on currently. 50% that has been imposed by United States. But Abhishek Kapoor, on one hand, we are seeing that there are several leaders. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, in fact, has weighed in on this as well and accused India of funding Putin's vicious war machine, similar to what Donald Trump has also stated. And on the other hand, a friend of both India and United States has come in and weighed in on this. So there's a clear division if we talk about globally as far as the global leaders are concerned on this.
Well, you see, he was asked a specific question about how he sees the development on tariffs, to which he responded, again, as I said, as a friend of both sides. The Prime Minister Netanyahu has a great intuition with Prime Minister Modi. In fact, during our 45 minutes of conversation, he mentioned at least 4 or 5 times the amount of work that Prime Minister Modi has done to make India-Israel relationship even stronger. And then, of course, we know he's a very good friend with President Trump. He has, in fact, recommended President Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize for his role in the Abraham Accords. So I think with that benefit of knowing both the sides, being friends with both the sides, he wished that, and the kind of common ground that exists between India and the United States, that both the sides would be able to tide over the period of turbulence that has hit the relationship because of the tariff war that's being single-handedly being carried out by President Trump. I think it's a very significant development, and it really gives an idea of the kind of concern that has got generated in the world community, because everyone sees India as a balancer, India as a pivot, India as a key player in terms of balancing on the side of the West, a multipolar world which otherwise would become lopsided in favor of China. So I think in that sense, Prime Minister Netanyahu's comment gained that much more salience and significance for the rest of the world to really follow, given the kind of a very almost vendetta-driven position that President Trump has really taken against India in the last 48 hours.
Absolutely, and United States has escalated this tariff war. India has called is completely unfortunate. Now, going forward, is there a possibility of any sort of resolution between the two nations, given how this has panned out in the last 2 weeks?
Sorry, I lost your question, Akanksha. There, can you come again? Question?
All right, so as the United States has escalated this tariff war, I was asking you, as India has mentioned that this is completely unfortunate that such a tariff has been imposed on India. Going forward, is there a possibility of any sort of resolution? Because we have seen similar things pan out with China as well as Brazil. So in case of India, is there a possibility of any resolution in the coming weeks?
Well, Akanksha, you see, ultimately, the tariff war between India and the United States is a bilateral issue to handle. It's unlikely that if any world leader calls President Trump and wants to prevail upon him, is going to change the position. And of course, we have seen that over the last 2 days, India's response has been absolutely firm and clear that while this is unfair and unjust, the kind of tariffs that have been slapped on us, we'll deal with it. In fact, remember, Prime Minister Modi earlier in the day, the statement that he has made while speaking with in a farmers' event, that we are going to strongly defend the farmers' interests is an indication that India is not blinking, and that what is off the table in terms of our bilateral trade agreement, which was being negotiated or is being still negotiated between the United States, is going to remain off the table, which includes, of course, the agriculture sector, specifically the genetically modified crops. So I think in that sense, India is going to do what it needs to do, driven by its own interests. And in fact, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that what we are doing for us, be it our war with Iran, be it our doubling down on our Gaza war, be it the manner in which we took down the Hezbollah, effectively turning the war of the last 2 years into a 7th-front war. In fact, he said that if you include the United Nations, it's an 8th-front war. And then, in that sense, it's Israel's war to fight, and you have to fight it from a position of strength, and you have to be guided by your own national interest. Similarly, in the case of India, he said that like it happened in the case of Operation Sindoor and post the Pahalgam terror attack, India would be guided by its own interest. But of course, he wished that the kind